A high-profile exit rocked the Congress yesterday, making national headlines. I have with me Milind Deora, whose exit has caused flutter amid national politics. Milind Deora, thank you so much for sparing the time to CNN News 18. You have always maintained dignified silence, but as a journalist who has covered politics, at least all of us know that for the last 10 years at least, you've been getting several offers and you have rebuffed them all. What was the thought that was going on for all these years and why now?
Well, firstly, thank you for having me. And, I'm still in many ways very emotional about what has happened. Ending a 55-year relationship with a party that my father and I have helped build, have helped sustain, is extremely difficult. And it was a very, very difficult decision that I felt I had to take. There were many reasons for this decision. It's not something that came upon me all of a sudden and I said, let me wake up now and leave the party. For the last 10 years or so, I tried my level best to move the party in a direction where we move towards constructive politics. I tried my level best to move the party into an area where we move to an area of honest introspection. There were some fundamental changes in India's politics that happened in 2014, culturally, socially, economically, politically. It was important for a party like the Congress to understand the gravitas of the situation of what had happened in 2014. Unfortunately, I didn't see that being taken as seriously as it should have. 2019's loss also, post that, the party did not grasp it in the way that it should have. And for me personally, my politics has always been constructive. In the last 10 years, I've criticized the government many a times on policies. But not once have I made a personal statement against someone. Not once have I hit below the belt. And honestly, I remember my late father, and he told me something in 2004 when I entered politics. He said, only somebody who is insecure of their own capability will hit out at someone else. If you're sure of yourself, if you're sure of what you bring to the table, you'll speak well of yourself and what your plan is. And for the last 10 years, that has always stuck in my head as a mantra of how to, when you're in doubt, what kind of politics to do. That space for constructive politics, for constructive debate, for being able to raise issues of national, local concern, I felt that space shrunk in the Congress. And that was one big issue. I still hoped against hope that the party would change, the party would improve. But ultimately, everyone has a purpose, and every career you have a purpose. And for me, my purpose in politics is ultimately to serve. If you don't have the ability to serve, if you don't have the means to serve, you cannot serve. And I felt that the way the party was in an alliance with partners who I know what the party's feeling is about the Shiv Sena UBT. I know what the party's feeling is about Aam Aadmi Party. I know how the Congress feels about Trinamool Congress. I know exactly what they believe personally. And I understand the compulsions of wanting to have an alliance. But when you're surrendering to a party, you're destroying 75 years of an organizational base. And in Mumbai and Maharashtra, I pleaded with the party, and I pleaded that when Mr. Sanjay Raut made a statement that Congress should start negotiations from 0 seats. What was I doing? I made a statement fighting for the party, for the Congress.
Was that the last straw?
That made me feel that the party is not serious about wanting to, the party, I don't think they liked the fact that when he said 0 seats, I said, my criticism was he should not make a statement like that in public. And Shiv Sena UBT is not the same party it was in 2019. It's a very different party today. It's under I would say it's in a far bigger existential crisis than even the Congress party is. And he had no right to say that Congress should start from zero. And trying to defend the Congress, trying to fight on behalf of the Congress, on behalf of the workers of the party who are confused, who are upset, who are irritated. That in some ways, like previous statements which were in the interest of the party, demanding introspection, etc., was seen as revolt, was seen as you're not helping the party, you're hurting the party. And I felt very deeply disturbed that not one leader from Delhi, not one leader from Maharashtra countered him. I'm not saying criticized him, I'm using the word countered him. To say that Shiv Sena UBT faction is not the same force it was during the MVA government. And ultimately what happens when you run an organization, when you work with people, when people are dependent on you, and people come to you and say, what is our future? And if they see on your face that you don't have a future, then it becomes very hard to convince them that they have a future in that organization. So this was a culmination of things. I don't have any personal grouse against any individual. I wish the party well. My only advice to the Congress party would be that the country has been wanting a constructive opposition. Even supporters of the BJP and the Mahayuti and the NDA alliance, I'm sure will say that we should have a constructive opposition. We should have an opposition that strengthens our democracy. We should have an opposition that gives constructive suggestions to the government. And the party, if they can't come to power, at least they should aspire to do that.
For all these years that you were there, did you see this disintegration coming? And did you, at the end of it all, feel disillusioned by it?
I mean, look, the disintegration coming is not for me to see. This is very evident. The Congress party was reduced to 44 seats in 2014. It's a devastating blow. So it's not for me to say it. It's written on the wall. It's written on all four walls. It's written on the ceiling. It's written on the floor. It's everywhere you look. I didn't see the party being serious about that. And I still don't see the party being serious about confronting the challenge that lies ahead. And I think that the party still has, in many ways, is in denial mode, or is just in a mode where it doesn't want to address, or I think it's unable to address certain challenges. And the part that it's unable to address, I can understand. The part that it can address and change, it's sad to see that it's not willing to change. And it's not just me. There are many people in the Congress today who feel that there should be the party still needs to do much more. In 24 hours, the people who've called me, many top leaders of the party, and they all have the same concern.
Do you also see that the Congress is getting disconnected from the ground? The fact that the Congress has chosen to not attend the Ram Mandir Pran Pratishthan as well, do you see that as something that's going against the public sentiment?
Congress has certainly lost its connect with the cultural, economic aspirations of the people of India. There's no question about it. In my opinion, the Ram temple inauguration, an issue which has been settled after 500 years by the Supreme Court of India. This issue is not a political event. It's not an event for a Hindu community or a Muslim community. It's an event for the world. It's an event for humanity. The story of Ramayana transcends religion. It transcends nationality. You can argue it transcends even species. It's a spiritual story. It's a moral story. And I don't know why the party did what they did, but that's one aspect of it. Economically, India is changing. Today, Indians are aware. Common people, whether you're highly educated or not highly educated, people know what's happening. Everyone has a smartphone. Everyone has an internet connection. Everyone has WhatsApp. Everyone has YouTube. Everyone has access to information. People are aware of what's happening around the world. People have aspirations. People want to do something. People want India to move forward. The Congress should have aligned with those aspirations, with a more constructive agenda. I didn't see that happening. I tried my best. I remember I took Rahul Gandhi ji to the US in 2018 which I received a lot of feedback from. People said it was a important trip. It changed his image. I tried to present him as somebody who has a constructive agenda, not just somebody who's opposing for the sake of opposing. He bought into that idea for some time. But I think I failed, and I was unable to deliver what I wanted to deliver for the party. I was unable to convince the powers that be that the Congress should maintain its centrist stand on issues. It should not deviate from its core ideology. On many issues, you think of UCC, you think of 370. These are issues which the Congress espoused back in the day. And look at where the party has moved to today. Look at economic reforms. This is the party that ushered in economic reforms, which is why we're able to have this conversation and people are able to watch it on their mobile phones. This was a great party once upon a time. It was a party which represented a very high ideal in India. And unfortunately, it's lost its way.
From an MP, from a young minister to a person who felt sidelined in the party, now after you've taken this decision, did you talk to any of the party high commands, party leaders? Did they respond to you?
I did speak to them about this issue of seat sharing with Shiv Sena UBT. I did inform them that we should be very careful about this alliance. I did remind some people about what they told me in 2019 about the alliance, because I know what the party feels about this alliance. I know how Congress feels about Shiv Sena UBT as an alliance, as a reliable alliance partner. I know exactly how reliable or unreliable they think this alliance is. And I did try to bring this to their attention. But as I said, I think that the party has, it's lost its way in its ability to now course correct. And I don't know what will happen in the future, but I think that it's no longer the organization or the party that it was when I entered in 2004. Certainly not the party that my father joined in 1968. But in 20 years, I have seen massive changes in the way the party has, the party operates, the party thinks, the party proposes or even opposes. And that's it. So I would just wish them well. I've moved on.
Have you spoken with them? Did you tell them?
I sent obviously conveyed. I conveyed my resignation to the party leadership, and that's it. And now I've moved on. Now I don't have any. Now my time as a congressman is over, and now I have to move on. I have to think about the future. I can't be stuck in the past.
If you could just tell me briefly what next for you.
Yeah. So I've joined a party now where where under the leadership of Eknath Shinde and the leadership of the Prime Minister. And I see that both of them are unique individuals who've come from very, very humble backgrounds. And I can see that this is a trend not just in Indian politics, but in global politics, where people coming from almost no political background can make it all the way to the top. Public wants people who work hard. Public wants people who are aggressive. Public wants people who, are passionate about it. And I think the fundamental difference in a leader like Eknath Shinde ji or Narendra Modi ji and other leaders, especially those in my erstwhile party, the Congress, is that these leaders love what they do. They genuinely enjoy every single minute of politics. And if you don't enjoy that, it's not a profession for people. And I think that shows with voters. And voters tend to reward people who are passionate about it. So I'm looking forward to this new innings. I'm looking forward to being able to contribute constructively. Mr. Shinde has told me very clearly that he's under attacks. He doesn't address those attacks every time. He says, I focus on development. And he says, I encourage you to do the same thing. And I said, that's very encouraging for me because that's the platform I want. So I'm looking forward to working through this platform for the people of Mumbai, Maharashtra and India.